So I want to talk about 5 habits you need to become a strong man. I don't just mean physically strong, but I mean that too. But I mean like mentally strong, have mental strength to be the type of person that, your kids will look up to. Type of person who will set the precedence, who will change in your family. If you build these habits, nothing you can't accomplish. You need these habits if you want to get in great shape. You need these habits if you want to make a bunch of money. You need these habits if you want to build a strong family. And the first one is you have to learn how to control your emotions. Check this out. The decisions that people make are based on the emotions they feel at the time they make the decision. The decisions people make are based off the emotions they feel at the time they make the decision. For example, I got a homie, SV. He's doing life in prison for a double homicide. He didn't wake up that morning and say, man, I'm about to kill some people. He was enraged, flew off the handle, pulled out the burner, killed 2 people, right? He really did it. He's doing life in prison. If he was able to control his emotions, he'd be outside, man, raising his family and shit. And instead, he's going to be in prison indefinitely. That's an extreme example, but you see examples like this all the time. People ruin their lives because they make a decision when they are in an emotional state. It doesn't put them in the best position to make the best decision. You've all been with some chick, you wouldn't have slept with her if you wasn't like super horny. She said the right thing at the right time. And had you been in your right mind, you wouldn't have did nothing with her. That's how some of y'all was born. We've all been angry and did things that did or said things that we regretted later. That's a lack of control of emotions, right? You really need to learn how to control your emotions because then you make better decisions. And here's the thing, a man who can't control his emotions is dangerous. He is a liability because the decisions you make are based off the emotions you feel at the time you make the decision. Because a lot of times this stuff is not premeditated. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you pull over, pull out the blick. And there's a lot of different emotions you have to control. Number one, you have to learn how to handle anger, and you have to learn how to handle stress. Those are the 2 main negative emotions that you need to learn how to control. And there's a few things you can do in order to mitigate the negative effects of these emotions. I'm not telling you to stifle your emotions and hold them in. I'm telling you to control them. So a lot of times when people hear control your emotions, they think, oh man, you just pressing it down and then one day you're gonna explode. I'm not telling you to do that. You can still feel the emotions, but you have to learn how to control it. If you own like a big dog, you gotta be able to control that dog. That's what your emotions are like. The number one way to learn how to control your emotions is to meditate. There's a study done by Harvard University, and it showed that just after 8 weeks of meditation, the participants' brain started to shrink in one particular region called the amygdala. The amygdala is where your fight or flight emotions come from. You gotta remember, what are emotions? Emotions are nothing but combinations of neurochemicals going off in your brain. And neurochemicals like oxytocin, norepinephrine, dopamine, that's all emotions are. Emotions are literally just in your head and not even real. A lot of the negative emotions and those neurochemicals are produced in your brain. There's one part of your brain called the amygdala, and it's responsible for almost all of your fight or flight emotions. And just after 8 weeks of meditation, that part of your brain, the amygdala, starts to shrink. That means you less of a fucking spaz. Like when some shit happens where you would normally spaz, if your amygdala is smaller, you won't have the same response to it. Meditation is the only non-pharmaceutical intervention I know of that can actually change the structure of your brain. And there's another study that showed, again, it was 8 weeks of mindfulness meditation. Part of your brain called the neocortex starts to have more density, right? Meaning there's more shit going on in your neocortex. Neocortex is the part of your brain where logic comes from. In humans, we have a larger neocortex than other animals. This is why we can do things like create languages, invent math, make YouTube videos, where other animals typically struggle doing those things on their own. Those are not endeavors that they have had success with because they don't have the same neocortex. So think about it. 2 months of meditation shrinks your amygdala and grows your neocortex. So now you're less of a spaz because your amygdala is smaller, and you are more logical because you have more density in your neocortex. Your brain actually changes. And remember, all emotions are made in your brain. So why don't we just go to the source? And the only way that I know how to do that without a pharmaceutical intervention is meditation. I meditate twice a day, 15 to 20 minute sessions. That's why I'm so much cooler than you, calmer than you. You never see me spaz. Been on YouTube 12 years, never flipped out, never crashed out. I see these YouTubers or celebrities crashing out, and I was like, oh man, this guy doesn't meditate. But not only do you need to control stress and anger, eager, you also need to control the positive emotions. You don't want to get too high or too low. You want to be stable. When you get too happy, too eager, or even too confident, that can be more dangerous than being too scared. If you just feeling yourself, yeah, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go run out and do it. He'll say, yeah. Now you the guy at his bachelor party in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's fucking put it all, let's go spend all money. And that's how motherfuckers be losing all money, getting all hype at the casino. Motherfuckers start fucking prostitutes, doing cocaine, because they're too happy. If you get too high, you can start feeling yourself. And you've seen that too, where people like feel themselves so much, they think they can't do the wrong and they stop taking precautions. They stop doing the things that got them there. So I see this a lot in the Miami entrepreneur space. Everybody who came here 3 years ago during the pandemic, all of them ain't here no more. What I started seeing like a year ago was people like, yeah, man, you know, all this material shit is not really that cool, man. So I'm just selling all my watches and I'm selling my cars and I'm just gonna move to somewhere where it's like, where I can build like a family, man, raise a family somewhere calmer and nicer. You know, I know the real shit because I'm friends with all the media buyers, all the people who do Facebook ads and Instagram ads and YouTube ads here. Them motherfuckers went broke. They're coping, right? Or they gotta put up a perception like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this because, you know, I'm elevated spiritually. Motherfucker, you lost your money. And what happened was those motherfuckers, they made some money. Either like crypto was pumping, if they held on, they'd be up again, right? But a lot during the downturn, a lot of the crypto boys, a lot of the course sellers, a lot of these guys, they made some bread, you know? And they were feeling themselves. They thought it would never end. They were too exuberant. And most importantly, they stopped doing the things that got them there. When they were trying to come up, they started grinding. They started going super hard. They were waking up early, going to sleep early, staying away from hoes, not partying, right? And that's how they got successful. But then they started feeling themselves so much, they got like almost overconfident. You know, motherfuckers got to sell the Bugatti. Then you see motherfuckers in the club and you see motherfuckers outside, you know? And then things start to go downhill. Then they start posting, yeah, man, I just didn't need all this stuff and everything, you know? Now, I know exactly what happened. So you got to control the negative emotions and you got to control the positive emotions. The way neurochemicals work, it's the same neurochemical cocktail going off in your brain as like cocaine. It's the same. And here's the thing, if you become successful and you can't control the positive emotions and you start losing discipline, making bad decisions because you're feeling yourself too much, you could fuck your life up more because now you got leverage. Let's say you became successful, started feeling yourself, and you say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna put a down payment on this big ass house. I'll never stop making money. And then what happens? If there's a downturn, which everybody experiences a downturn in business without exception, now you've inflated your lifestyle so much that you can't afford it. You gotta make that post about how you want a simpler life and move someplace where you can raise a family. You gotta go back to Texas and get a job. Control your emotions, brother. Don't get too excited when you're feeling yourself and start thinking you a god or some shit. Second habit you need to build is impulse control, right? And this is kind of related to controlling emotions. I see this with young people a lot. They have very little impulse control a lot of the time, and they lack patience. So they want stuff now. They can't think 2 steps ahead or 2 years ahead, right? Typically, the things that are fun and you enjoy now are typically not the best things for you long term. And the things that are great for you long term typically are not the most enjoyable short term. For example, I, like most of you guys, hate working out legs. I don't like working out at all, but legs in particular. So let's say I just avoid it, man. Just do arms every day instead. What's shit gonna look like 5-10 years from now? I'm gonna be looking like Johnny Bravo. I'm gonna be looking like a triangle out here. Let's say, man, yo, you don't like eating healthy, so you avoid like the healthy foods and you say, you know what, I'm just gonna eat these candies and cakes like a child. It's gonna feel great in the moment, right? Because those kind of foods, they're actually engineered to taste more delicious than anything you would find in nature. And that's gonna spike dopamine in your brain. That's why they become addictive and they feel great. Like, it tastes great, feel great. But you keep doing that down the line, you're gonna be a fat boy. In order to have impulse control, what you need to do is have a long-term perspective. The further out you can extend your time horizon when you make a decision, typically the better decisions you'll make. I'm gonna do something that's less consequential, but like, you know, tonight I'm gonna stick to my diet, right? That's gonna be better for me long term. And it goes for all things, even like relationships. Let's say you got a fiance, you about to get married to the woman of your dreams, man, but some fucking thought slide into your GM. Now you got decisions to make. You wanna do what you like short term, or you do it like long term? Long term perspective is almost always going to provide you opportunities to make the better decision. And when you start thinking short term, you're typically making bad decisions that won't be advantageous for you. We do those things by impulse. Like for example, if I'm out with some friends at a dinner or something, friends, colleagues, they start drinking, I don't drink. But they'll try to pressure me sometimes, you know, not anymore, but when I first stopped drinking, oh, you can have one drink. And yeah, having this drink right now would be fun. But what's that gonna be like in the morning? I'm 43, right? So I'm not gonna be able to bounce back as quick. I know tomorrow I'm gonna pay for that. Tomorrow I'm going to be less productive as a result. And I'm building bad habits. You know, I impulsively want to have fun with the homies. If I can control my impulse, then I'll make a better decision. But if I come impulsive and just, all right, fuck it, give me a shot. Who knows what next bad decision I'm gonna make? People get into fights, cheat on their spouses, fuck ugly bitches, and you can't undo that. That's a stain on your name indefinitely. If I find out one of my boys was fucking some ugly bitch, that's gonna be a running gag for the rest of our relationship. I will be at this motherfucker's eulogy and be like, and it was one time, all because of lack of impulse control. So you gotta learn to control your impulses. And the way you do that is to think long term. One thing I do, like don't take the first step. So a lot of times people will be like, oh man, you could do this a little. Man, you can have one drink turns into two turns into three. Now you got an ugly bitch pregnant. But it all came from that first step. The first step is the worst step. So you really have to not even put yourself in positions like that. Like if I felt like I couldn't handle being around people drinking, I would just exclude myself from those situations. Now I can handle it. I can be around people drinking and I do it. But that's just an example. There's some things I know I can't be around. I know my limits. I avoid those situations. So the drinking is a good example. If you want to stop drinking, you got to figure out, can you be around people drinking and not drink? I can, but if I couldn't, I wouldn't place myself in those situations. When I first started like eating good and getting into fitness, I just wouldn't buy the food that I was trying to avoid. It just wouldn't be in the house. But because I've abstained from that so long, I'm not tempted. And another thing you can do to control your impulses is utilize friction. So if you want to abstain from something that you normally don't have the impulse control to abstain from, and you need to put friction in between you. One thing I do really like, man, I love ice cream. I ain't ate ice cream in years. Probably been like almost 3 years since I ate ice cream. If I get some Haagen-Dazs in here, I'm eating it all. So guess what? As a result, I don't have no Haagen-Dazs in the house. It's a form of impulse control. Now I can still get it, but then I have to go outside. Yeah, fuck that. That's enough friction for me to abstain from it. So anything you have like that, you want to erect barriers in front of you, like add friction. If you wanted to stop playing video games or stop playing video games as much, take the motherfucking X station out the crib. If you spend too much time on your phone, sometimes when I'm working, if I got like put in some deep work, I'll put my phone in the bathroom, close the bathroom. Yeah, I can still get it, but like there's a little bit of friction, and as a result, I can focus more. Because when you add friction, now it doesn't take, you're not using your discipline as much. You don't have to use discipline. You can save your discipline if you put friction in front of it. You can do that with anything. If you want to do more of something, remove friction. For example, I wake up early. You know, I like to wake up early and get more work done. I use my phone as my alarm, but I put it in my in the pocket of my robe on the other side of the bedroom. And I got a big ass, massive bedroom. And I hear it, I got to get up out of bed to get it. By the time I get there, I'm right here, I turn it off. I'm right by my robe, so there's less friction. I put the robe on. The robe is right by the door, so it's like, all right, let me get the fuck out of here, because there's less friction. And then when I walk through the door, boom, I go to the kitchen, pre-workout already made. Pre-workout and some bronche. I take those, boom, right? What I'm doing is lowering the barrier of entry by removing friction. Anything you want to do more of, remove friction. Anything you want to do less of, increase friction. And this will help you with your impulse control. You don't have to use as much discipline when you do this. And you can save your discipline for the most important things. And now that brings us to number 3, discipline. You got to develop strong discipline. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. However, being a bitch is like a muscle too. The more you act like a bitch, the stronger that muscle gets. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're supposed to go to the gym and you don't feel like doing it. Now you have a decision to make. Do you go anyway, or do you do something else instead? If you go anyway, then you have to use what? Discipline to do it. Because discipline means you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. See, if you were motivated to go to the gym, if you were excited, you're not using discipline. The only time you have an opportunity to exercise your discipline muscle is when you have to do something and you don't feel like doing it. Now you got an opportunity. If you do it anyway, if you choose to do it anyway, it will be easier for you to behave like that the next time you find yourself in a similar situation. Now, let's say you don't do it. Let's say, man, I know I'm supposed to go to the gym, but you start saying that bitch shit. Man, one day won't hurt. Man, You know, I went yesterday, so I could take the day off. Those are the battle cries of the undisciplined. So let's just say you say, hey man, one day won't hurt. Yeah, and one day won't hurt. But the problem is now you're building a habit of being a bitch. And next time you're in a situation like that, it'll be easier for you to behave like a bitch. Because now you've built a habit. And God forbid you do something fun instead. Like let's say you're supposed to go to the gym. You don't feel like doing it, so you don't go. That's bad enough. But if you do something fun instead, you know what, I'm just gonna play these video games. Now what happens, you gave yourself a treat for doing the wrong thing. Here's why that's important. Think about the way we train animals. When you want it to do something over again, you catch it doing something, you give it a treat. Now it knows to do that, and it'll start doing it for treats. Then it'll get to the point it's just doing that shit because he built the habit. You training yourself that same way you train animals. You gave yourself the equivalent of a treat after a certain behavior. Like the behavior was, you were supposed to go, you didn't go like a bitch, and you gave yourself a treat for being a bitch. Now you ingrained that into your central nervous system, your reward center. And some of y'all been doing that bitch shit for so long that it's your default response. It's your default response to challenge. It's to be a bitch. So you gotta build that muscle. So every time you're in a situation where you're supposed to do something, you don't feel like it, you should rejoice. Because they're like, now I have opportunity to become stronger and build my discipline muscle. You only have the opportunity to build discipline when you're supposed to do something you don't feel like it. After repeated exposure to this stimuli and you keep doing what you're supposed to, you behave a certain way, and it becomes what? A habit. And then once it becomes a habit, you don't need discipline. So we only need enough discipline to build a habit. So people talk to me and they say, oh man, you're so disciplined. You're so disciplined. I'm like, yeah, not so much anymore. Like I needed discipline initially to build the habit. But once it becomes a habit, this is just what I do. People see me tracking my macros every day for like 15 years. It's not discipline to me anymore. Just need enough discipline to build the habit. And then once you do it repeatedly, you don't even need discipline no more. Like you don't need discipline to brush your teeth anymore. But if you're anything like my son, I got to remind that motherfucker every time. So just think about it like that. The way you build discipline is to get excited when you have opportunity to use it. And to make no mistake, all power comes from discipline, right? Because think about it. If you want to get rich, all you got to do is make more money than you spend and invest the difference. Over a long enough period of time, you will get rich. Now, to make more money spend, you need discipline to work harder and spend less. So now you got to be disciplined with your spending and your work ethic. And then you got to take that extra money and instead of blowing it on Gucci belts and prostitutes, you got to put that in the stock market or real estate or into your own business or into cryptocurrency. You know, and that's going to take discipline initially until it becomes a habit. If you want to lose fat, you got to burn more calories than you consume, right? Which means you got to be more active and monitor your consumption. And you're going to need discipline in order to do that until it becomes a habit. You just need enough to get through that. And then it becomes something you do. The next habit you need to build to become a strong man is time management. Yo, Bruce Lee once said, if you love life, don't waste time because time is what life is made of. You have to really learn how to maximize every hour of every day. And the only way you're going to do that is to start planning every hour of every day in your calendar. You guys out here freestyling your days, going with the flow. Man, fuck that shit. I promise you, if you do this for 90 days, plan every hour of every day in your calendar and fill it with things that will help you accomplish your goal. It has some structure to your day. You're going to weaponize time. And in 90 days, you will be unrecognizable. When people say shit to me like, man, I don't have time to work out. Like, motherfucker, you got time. It's fucking hour a day. This 168 hours in a fucking week. You can't find 1 hour. I don't want to hear no excuses. I work 80 hours a week and I've been doing that for like 15 years and I work out. I can find an hour to do it. The difference between me and you is I plan every hour of every day in my calendar. And one of those hours is going to be working out. When you will run circles around your competition, people will marvel at what you accomplish. It's the easiest way to change your life. Another thing will happen. You will actually accidentally get rid of almost all your bad habits, right? Because you're not going to put the bullshit in the calendar. You're not going to put getting high in the calendar. You're not going to put video games in the calendar. You're not going to put gooning in the calendar unless it's like a priority for you. That's how I stopped drinking and smoking weed. It wasn't like a big declaration like, I'm going to stop smoking weed. I got to stop smoking weed. I got to stop drinking. I just didn't have time anymore. My day was jam-packed. I'm talking about like I put time with my family in the calendar, time with my girlfriend in the calendar. Me and the homies, we going to a concert this weekend. It's in the calendar. Last weekend, me and my girl went bowling with my boy and his girl. and his wife. His shit was in the calendar. Everything that's important to me, my friends, my family, and my business is in the calendar. And I fill it up. No, I don't leave white space, because white space is where the devil hides. If your shit is filled with productivity or things that you enjoy, there's no time for bullshit. So you will accidentally get rid of all your vices without having to make a big declaration about it or be all ceremonial about it. I'm gonna quit drinking. It's like, nah, you just won't drink. How about you just get busy? You will be unrecognizable in 90 days. It's the easiest way to change your life. And the fifth thing you need to do is focus on never-ending skill acquisition, because you gotta keep learning, you gotta keep getting better, right? And that could be taking courses, that could be getting mentors, that could be reading books, right? But you need to be studying every day, especially because the world is changing so fast. You know, like 3-4 years ago, we didn't have consumer grade AI like ChatGPT, Gemini, and all that shit, right? Motherfuckers have gotten rich off that. But if you weren't studying it, if you weren't learning it, you're just using it for dumb shit like what's the weather today or whatever, right? But motherfuckers have built businesses off of it. I know people who got rich off AI because they learned about it early. Always be learning. What that looks like for me is when I'm working out, I'm always listening to an audiobook. I set aside some time in my calendar to read every day. I buy courses. I'm in mentorship programs. I spend close to like $100 grand a year on like educational shit. I'm not saying you got to go that hard, but you should at least spend some time each day on studying. Shit you're going to implement. Right? I'm not telling you to listen to Joe Rogan and call it studying, but I mean shit that you could actually implement immediately when you learn it in a way that it'll move you towards your goals. And not only learning, but sometimes you need to practice. So for example, they say that if you want to be world class or something, you got to put in about 10,000 hours. But you probably don't need to be one of the best in the world at whatever it is you're trying to get. You probably just need to be proficient. And in my experience, 1,000 hours makes you like really good, like better than almost anybody you'll meet. What I'll do is like when I'm working on something, I'll practice it. I'll track the hours. And I'll notice after 100 hours, okay, I don't suck. Maybe not good, but I don't suck. But at 1,000 hours, I'm pretty fucking good at that shit. Or that's how I got pretty good at a lot of things over the years. 1,000-hour rule. And then what happens at 1,000 hours is you get so good at the thing that it becomes fun. Right? People say, man, how do you find your passion? How do I find my passion? It's like, no, you don't find your passion, you develop it. Anything you're good at, you start to like doing it. So if you don't have a passion, that means you're probably not good at anything. But you need to find the thing that you want to get good at. And once you get good at it, you'll be passionate about it. I promise you. So not only does skill acquisition make you more money, make you a better person, but you start to enjoy life more when you are good at shit. When you are good at things, when you are a capable man, you will enjoy life more. And guess what? You'll be more useful. Not only yourself, but the people around you. If you're good at something, now you can help your family with it. Maybe people will pay you to learn it. You'll be more useful because you are good at something. But the thing is, most people ain't that good at anything, because that's how you become high value. When they talk about being a high value man, it's not just how much money you got, it's like value, like how useful are you? All businesses are problem solving. I needed a mic that would pick up my voice, but not pick up all the shit around me and solve that problem for me. I needed someone to edit my videos and film everything. Nima solved that problem for me. I needed a watch to flex on all the haters. Richard Millet solved that problem for me, and they were compensated for it, right? Business is problem solving. If you want to make money, get good at something. The 1,000-hour rule is the way to track it. A lot of times people will try something once or twice, or maybe a few times for a month, and then say, man, I'm just not good at this, and then quit. But if you're tracking how many hours you spend learning this thing, at least this is what happened to me. It's like I say, oh man, I only got 50 hours. I'm not even supposed to be good yet. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, considering how much effort I've put in so far. And now we have a goal to hit to. Man, just get to 1,000 hours. If we get to 1,000 hours, I know I'll be good. And that way I stop thinking about how good I am. I just think about getting 1,000 hours. If you want to learn more about skill acquisition, I got a whole video about it on the skill acquisition matrix. Go check that out. All right.